What's up, everybody? Thanks for clicking that play button. Make sure you subscribe also. I'm going to go back and cover a little bit of what I talked about in the last episode, which was how we've killed off one of our own opportunities to start a business with $0. And I'm also going to get into a little bit of a story about my big mistake when I first started my business that didn't catch up with me until 5 years later. So come back after the theme song and let's get into this episode. All right, in episode 12, I was continuing the theme of talking about starting a business with no money. And I talked about one of the major things that we've kind of ruined for ourselves, which was creating a blog and monetizing that blog. Now, I didn't get into great detail about why I said our use of social media has hurt us, but I'm going to recap that. I'm going to try and make it quick. I'm going to recap that a little bit. When I said that social media actually hurts us, those of us who are looking at starting a business, everybody in the world is probably going to argue with me and say, nah, you're wrong. Social media has helped everyone who wants to start a business. You're connected with more people. You're out there. Everybody's on social media. Yeah, but I've done a whole lot of research, and that research has shown that social media, specifically Facebook, people are not really being converted from Facebook. That means if you post something on social media, uh, chances are your engagement is not that high, first. And second, you're going to have to spend a lot of money advertising to get people to see what you said. But this is the most important part of it. Most of the people on social media are used to doing one thing, clicking like. Now, when they click like, that doesn't mean that they've clicked the article that you've posted. That doesn't mean that, all right? So it means that they just clicked the like button. They may not have clicked through and read the article that you posted. More importantly, they didn't engage you on your own platform. Now, since we've really started using social media and we spend the majority of our day on social media, we've completely changed our browsing habits. 10 years ago, 5 years ago even, when you woke up in the morning, you didn't occupy your whole day with social media. You would browse the web. I remember 15 years ago, 20 years ago, um, you had this thing called a web ring, and it would sit at the bottom of the screen on your desktop, and that web ring connected to maybe 15, 16 other websites that had the same topic as your website, kind of like a blog roll on WordPress today. But now people don't click and search for these different things. That means if you were going to start a business and you were going to utilize the information that's in your head and say, hey, I'm going to become a consultant and I'm going to talk about, let's say, plumbing, and you want to talk about plumbing. Well, it used to be that you could create this website and people would search for it if they were interested in that topic and they would go to your website. Well, that's no longer the case. So when I'm talking about the fact that staying on Facebook has really hindered the potential of starting your own business, it really has. So you guys have to think about the idea of how you browse the web. So that's kind of the recap that I wanted to get into. Now, what I want to jump into next is a discussion on a big mistake that I made. And that big mistake didn't catch up with me until a year ago, really at the end of 2013. My first company that I started was Center Court Basketball. Well, really the first one was CBP, which is CB Publishing, and I started that in the late 1990s, early 2000s. And that wasn't a big business. It was basically a book publishing business. But the second business I started was Center Court Basketball. That was in 2004. At that time, I did everything kind of the right way because I was basically getting into business and I was a professor at a college. So I had the time to sit down and, well, I actually just paid better attention to what I was doing. Um, the new business that I started in 2009, which was art, that business, when it started, I did not take all of the things that I learned previously in center court basketball. I made a huge mistake. I started the company because, like so many of us, I was already kind of going out to the flea market. Like I said in a couple of episodes ago, I had started as a hobby. I was going out to the flea markets. I was selling sneakers. I was selling the shorts that I made. I was selling the t-shirts that I made, and I was doing really well. And it was a weekend thing, so I didn't really pay attention to it as much as I should have. So in 2009, and I was doing pretty well. I didn't have a business account. All right, I had an EIN. Now, what you'll see is back here on the board, I have a few things written. Oh, shout out to my wife. For my birthday, she bought me this really big whiteboard. You can't see all of it because of the way the room is set up. I need to clean up back there. You see some Jordans back there and stuff. But shout out to my wife for getting me this really nice whiteboard. On it in the back, you'll see one, EIN, two, open a business checking account. Where I'm going with this story, you'll understand why I have these things written on the back. Um, in 2009, when I started the business, I had everything kind of rolling along. I wasn't bugging because I was still teaching. So I had an income. So I really didn't focus completely on the business the way I should have. All right. 2011, I launched, 2011, I transitioned from eBay to Amazon. And in 2011, 2012 was when I quit my job and I stopped working. 2012, I made $450,000. 2013, I made $450,000. 2014, I made $300,000. Now, I bring that up because it's extremely important for you to understand why I'm telling you this information. I dropped down $150,000 because I was working with a few people and I had some difficulties with those people. And I spent too much time being sad and having a pity party because I felt like those people kind of turned their backs on me. And instead of working and taking care of business, I was sitting around crying about stuff and complaining, not literally crying, but just complaining. And it got to the point where my wife was like, look, I don't want to hear that shit anymore, man. Please stop complaining. Get to work and fix it. Well, this is the problem. All of that time I was making all of this money. I was using my personal account, my personal checking account. Now, this is what you have to understand. Um, my original business, sorry about that dead space. My original business back in 2004 was center court basketball. I had a business account, I had everything set up, and everything was in order. In 2011, I did not do that. I was using my personal account. And in 2014, when my income went from 450,000 a year down to 300,000 a year, I needed a loan. And I said to myself, oh, well, I just need to take my 1099s. I made $1.2 million over the last 2.5 years. Shouldn't have a problem going into a bank and getting some money. Well, this is the problem. I had no business checking history. This is by far and away the biggest mistake that I've ever made. And this is why. I walked into the bank and I thought that I could get a business loan so I could recover and fix a few things. Well, the problem was I couldn't. When you don't have a business checking account and you don't have a business transaction history, although I was getting paid $40,000 a month from Amazon.com, that money was going into my personal account. I had no business transactions. I had to then sit down and open a business account. And then I had to get 3 months of business transactions before I could apply for a loan. Well, the problem was I hadn't used any credit or anything else because in 2007 I had gone bankrupt. So I was like, well, I'm never using credit again. I'm not going to do it. And well, all of a sudden I needed money. So now I'm kind of looking around trying to find money and I'm, like, man, where can I find money? I got all of all of this paperwork that shows that I made $1 million, but I can't get any loans. Well, by the time I realized what the problem was, which was not having the business account set up, I went ahead and leveraged my online store as basically collateral. If I'm making $40,000 a month, I figured a company would give me a huge line of credit. What I didn't pay attention to was the small print. And I took a loan from a company. I won't say the name of the company. But if you write me and ask me, I'll tell you. So if you want to avoid it, you will avoid it. I don't want to have some type of situation where I talk about the company on camera and they come back and say, hey, you can't do that, blah, blah, blah. But if you write me, I'll tell you what the name of the company is. Well, I took a $40,000 loan, right? It was approved within 24 hours. It was in my bank account 48 hours. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm back. I can get back to work. I can fix a few things. Well, this is the problem. The fine print said that I had to pay that loan back, and I didn't pay attention to it. I thought I had to pay a certain amount a month. I had to pay that money on a daily basis. So this is 2014. It's 2015 now. I took this loan out in November of last year. So I waited a long time before I took it out because I was so used to working without it. And I was just figuring things out because that's what you do in small business. Well, the problem is this. I had to pay that loan back in 1 year. So I don't know if you can break down the numbers on that. They were taking out $152 a day out of my account. It came directly out of my account no matter what. All right. It still is till this day right now. Well, that it totals up to between $3,200 and $3,500 a month. Okay. That $3,500 a month pulling away from everything else became a strain on the business. So now I'm like, okay, I made this mistake. I have to fix it. Well, the loan is paid off next month. I will have paid off $40,000 in 1 year. While that's impressive, it should have never really gotten to that point. Okay. And what I'm trying to get across to you right now is when you start your business, go out, even if it's a hobby, go out, sign up for an EIN. All right. You can go to the irs.gov and you can register. That doesn't cost you any money to get you an EIN. Okay. Get you an EIN. Open your business checking account. You can use your name. All right. You don't have to have a business name and a license and all of this other stuff. You simply have to, well, you do have to have a license so you can show it to the bank, but that's not absolutely necessary either. All right. But once you have that EIN, you can go to the bank and open a business account. So open a business checking account. All right. After that, once your business checking account is open either a PayPal or an Amazon payments account. Okay. So you can start taking payments online and it'll transfer and it'll show you a history of transactions into your account. If you have people wire you money, have it wired into your business account. But whatever it is, you need to have a history of transactions showing up so that if you get to the point where you're going to start a business that's based on consulting or something like that, you have the ability to walk into the bank with a little bit of a transaction history and maybe request a line of credit or a loan when you get to that point if you need it. All right. So I made a huge mistake. I do not want anyone else to kind of run into the things that I run into, which is that's the main reason I started this web show. So I don't mind divulging that. I don't mind saying that. Okay. I don't mind putting that out there on camera because what I found that has hurt me the most as a small business person is no one tells you the truth. What I need to do is tell other people what I've gone through. Okay. It's important that I explain to you how I made certain decisions that didn't help me out. They actually hurt me. So this was a longer episode. I hope you stayed with me the whole time. It's 12 minutes or so, but I hope this was worth your time. All right. Now down at the bottom, you see yourname.com. I'll get into that on the next episode. And I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from and that you hear what I'm saying and that you pay attention and adjust the way you're approaching your business or what you're getting ready to do. We'll get back to how to start a business with $0 because now that you know what I've gone through, you'll understand why it's important for you to be able to start a business with $0 or a small amount of money. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share the videos. I look forward to the next episode and getting into another great topic.